So there you are, heading into the Cosmodrome, walking up upon a whole bunch of enemies, when all of a sudden, bam, you're dead. Does that happen too often? Are your abilities just not where you need them to be or want them to be? Do you know that something isn't quite right, so you want to make some tweaks and change some stuff around? Well, maybe it's time to start looking at those armor pieces in your mods to figure out how we can make Destiny truly the right experience for you. Every Guardian has 6 different stats. If you look at the character screen to the left of the armor, you will see these listed. Starting at the top, we have mobility, which increases the movement speed and jump height of your character, while also reducing the recharge rate of the hunter's dodge ability. Next is resilience, which increases the damage that your Guardian can take while also increasing your shield health and reduces the charge time for the Titan barricade ability. Recovery will help increase health regeneration rate while also reducing the charge time of the Warlock's Rift ability. Discipline, intellect, and strength are all involved in reducing your grenade, super, and melee abilities respectively. Each of these stats maxes out at 100. You can have a higher score, but there really is no benefit beyond 100. You alter your stats by using different armor pieces. Every piece of armor, with the exception of the class item, drops with its own stat block. These stat blocks are filled out by taking the total stat score and distributing it amongst all 6 of the stats. Half of the total score will go to the top half stats, so mobility, resilience, and recovery, while the remaining score will be distributed amongst discipline, intellect, and strength. Adding up all of these scores will be what ultimately gives you your Guardian's total stat block. You can hover over each of the stats to see how they have affected whatever the ability is that they are attempting to manipulate. But before we move on talking about how to tweak all these armor pieces so that way we get our builds just the way we want, why don't you go ahead and consider leaving a like and maybe subscribing to the channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Spuds and I like to hang out and help Guardians get better. I'm usually hanging around on Discords all throughout the weekend and some evenings, so if you see me, give me a shout. Let's go do something together. So now that we know what in the world our armor is doing, let's talk about throwing in some mods to kind of tweak these armor pieces so that way our builds are getting just right for us. Every piece of armor has an amount of energy attached to it. This is kind of like the currency for equipping mods to your armor. You can get more energy by upgrading your armor, allowing up to a total of 10 spaces. Each armor mod takes an amount of energy that is displayed in the top right corner of each mod. Each piece of armor has a certain amount of mod slots. For simplicity's sake, we're only going to be referring to regular, legendary, or exotic armor for this conversation. There are lower grade tiers that have different amounts of armor slots. There are artifice armor that has an additional mod slot on it. So we're just going to talk about standard, legendary, or exotic armor, which has 4 armor slots. The first slot on all of your armor pieces are for changing your stats. A regular stat mod is going to give plus 10 to whatever the associated ability is, while a minor mod is going to give plus 5. The other 3 slots are all about enhancing the gameplay. On helmets, we have Finder and Scout mods. These mods aid in the creation of ammo blocks for you and your allies. You also have super cooldown reduction perks like Dynamo, Ashes to Assets, Hands-On, and Power Preservation. These all help reduce the charge time of your super ability based on certain situations. You also have Siphon perks, which generate orbs of power with weapon kills of an associated damage type. You also have targeting mods, which are enhancing the target acquisition for weapons of their associated damage type. On our arms armor pieces, we have grenades and melee enhancing perks. There are also loader perks, which increase the reload speed of weapons of an associated damage type, and dexterity perks, which enhance the steady stow speeds for those weapons as well. Then on the chest armor pieces, we have resistance perks, which reduce incoming damage of an associated type. We also have a mod on here called Lucent Blades, which increases recharge rate of of swords, and glaives gain more energy when using their range attack. We also have unflinching aim perks, which reduce flinch from incoming damage types. And then we have reserve perks, which increase the ammo reserves on weapons of a damage type. Then we have the legs armor pieces, which have orb mods that give an additional boost on picking up an orb of power. We have holster mods, which gradually reloads weapons of an associated damage type. And then we have scavenger mods, which allow you to get more ammo from ammo blocks of an associated damage type. Then on the class item, we have ability reduction mods, which aid in the reduction of charge time for your abilities. We have a mod called Proximity Ward, which allows you to gain an overshield when performing your finisher. Then we have the Reaper mod, which says after a class ability, your next weapon final blow generates an orb of power. With the launch of Lightfall came a new set of mods called Armor Charge mods. These mods allow you to gain an armor charge when picking up orbs of power. These will then provide some sort of boost to a damage type, a stat, or a perk based on what mod you're putting on your armor. For instance, Emergency Reinforcement on the chest allows you to gain damage reduction when your shields are broken. Now that we kind of have a handle on all the armor and the mods and what we're trying to look for and how we want to tweak our builds, the real trouble is, how do we find it? So the first thing that you want to do is you want to look on your ghost. Ghost shells have mods just like armor pieces do. The third slot is called the economic mod slot, and in this bracket you can choose armorer mods. This mod guarantees at least a 10 in that particular stat and increases the chance of a higher score in the associated stat when a new armor piece drops. This means that the other stats in the pool, top or bottom, will receive lower scores. For instance, on this ghost we have a discipline mod, so we can expect intellect and melee would have lower stats because we have a higher discipline. The next thing that you want to do is go about your powerful and pinnacle grind. As talked about in other videos, you have to complete weekly rituals along with seasonal activities and other in-game content like the raids and dungeon rotators and Trials of Osiris. They all drop high stat armor. You can usually find all this content by just simply looking at your director and seeing all the yellow dots floating all over the map. The next thing you'll want to do is you will want to focus seasonal engrams. When you go to the seasonal vendor on the helm, you will eventually gain the ability to focus high stat armor. Once this perk is unlocked, you will be able to use your seasonal engrams to choose which pieces of armor you want. With the armorer mod chosen, you will receive a piece of high stat armor in the stat that you're looking for. Other ways to go about looking for this armor is by doing Legendary and Master Lost Sectors. They drop a high stat exotic armor when the armor, actually drops. Or you can do the Pit of Heresy dungeon when that is the dungeon rotator. The pinnacle in this dungeon guarantees 16 in 2 armor stats. Well, I hope this video helped get the juices flowing as you look into making new builds to play Destiny. Perk combos can absolutely change the entire way that we play the game and how we can style it to fit our needs. If you liked this video, this kind of content, please consider doing all the YouTube things, hitting subscribe with the bell on and comments and likes and all that stuff. It really helps the channel. Leave a comment down below letting me know what your go-to stat is and why do you like that stat? What makes it fun? But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.